most of those mines had closed down. There wasn't a lot of stuff to haul anymore. They did have a contract to carry the mail, however. That obligated them to run a train at least 6 days a week. Well, to do that with a regular steam engine, you had to have a crew of 5. You had to have an engineer, a fireman, 2 brakemen, and a conductor. Plus maintenance on a steam engine is pretty expensive. They were losing money. This is during the Great Depression, as I said. And the guys on the railroad didn't want the railroad to go under. They wanted to keep their jobs. They came up with this idea of using an automobile body combined with a freight box on the back. You could haul what little passengers they had up here for the most part. Do your freight and your mail in the back, and you could run it with a crew of 1 instead of a crew of 5. That enabled them to save a lot of money, plus there was a lot less maintenance on this. That enabled them to save enough money that they weren't losing money anymore. I wasn't to say they were making much, but they weren't losing it anyway. They built the first Goose, and that basically paid for itself within a matter of months. So did the second one. So they kind of knew they were onto something. They eventually built 7 of them between 1931 and 1936. And they replaced the regularly scheduled steam passenger trains. By saving those operating expenses, they were able to keep the railroad alive, keep it running for another 20-some years. They did run steam freight trains when they had enough traffic to them. Particularly in the fall and spring, they hauled a lot of sheep and cattle. In 1949, they did lose the mail contract. They lost it to trucks. Roads in that part of the state had gotten better. There's a lot of surplus trucks left from World War II. You could start your own freight company pretty cheaply down there at that time doing that. More people were buying their own automobiles. Well, less passenger traffic. When they lost that mail contract, they thought they were done, but they had one more little trick up their sleeve. They cut windows in the back freight boxes. They went down to Denver where they were scrapping some trolley cars, took the seats out of there and put them in the back, and they started promoting tourism. And while quite a few tourists did come, it just wasn't enough to keep the railroad alive. 2 years later, 1951, they did go into bankruptcy and closed down. They pulled up the rails the next year. But of the 7 total Goose that were built, 6 of them have survived. The first one did not. But there is a guy in Ridgway, Colorado that has built an exact duplicate of it. It's in Ridgway today and operates.